some people look at the employees as the last line of defense. I don't hold this opinion. I don't think that we should rely on employees to be the ones that are holding or preventing the organization from falling into those traps. You should keep the basic cyber security, information security up to date, what we call cyber hygiene. Make sure we have if someone fell for the scam and you have a malware coming into your system, you need to have the right tools to detect it and to eradicate it. So it's nice if few employees really remember what they heard in the training, in the awareness training, and report things, but I don't think that you should rely on them, because not because they are not reliable, but because it's not their job. They have their daily job. They are overwhelmed with that, and in one of the awareness training that we did, not the training but the exercises that we did, one of the managers said, I rely on the security system, professionals to prevent it. So I come to work in the morning assuming that you do your job and I'll do my job, and if I clicked on something and something bad happens, it's your fault, not my fault.
Shuky Peleg, welcome to the Human Zero Day. I'm so excited for our conversation. This is going to be so much fun. How are you?
Very well, thank you. It's Thursday. It couldn't be better than that.
Couldn't be better than that. TJIT.
Yes.
Shuky, so happy to have you here because the work that you've done over quite some time really falls in line with the world that we're going to talk about. You've been in the security space for a very long time. I'm going to let you go through the entire or a majority part of the history, because I would love to understand your journey better. But also you spent a very significant of time being CISOs of financial institutions like the International Bank of Israel. And that's a pretty large feat. And today you're still operating in similar contexts, but looking at the larger space and advising and consulting, and I would love to hear from you, Shuky, a little bit about how you got into security. Why did you stay in security, and how has your own journey evolved here?
Okay, let's begin at the beginning. I started my computer roadmap in the military, mainly with mainframes, which is the previous decade, or more than a decade, the previous century even. Into security, actually the first time I had to do something with security was still at that time with the first access control systems to mainframe computers, and that was around 1982. But that was an episode. No one called it security at that time. They called it something else. After a long career with IBM in Israel and in the United States, I moved to a startup company, which was doing security systems, security technology, and joined a few people that I was in the army with them. And that was actually the first time that I really was involved with security software and security procedures. After that, with other companies, I did mainly security that is related to infrastructure and to what's called GRC, governance and compliance. Actually, the recent jobs that I held was the CISO of the first International Bank of Israel. It was not the international, but the first International Bank of Israel. It was for about 10 years.
Important clarification. Thank you.
It was for about 10 years. Before that, I was the security manager for e-government, which was part of the Ministry of Finance at that time. And before that, also another security position with, let's call it a government agency. And now, after being responsible to to maintain the security of an organization, I stepped away a little bit, and I'm consulting to a security regulation agency, which is much more broader but less stressful.
I love it, and I love the much broader, less stressful. Tell me a little bit about why security is exciting for you. You know, what does it mean for you to be for 10 years the Chief Information Security Officer for the First International Bank of Israel?
It's a very dynamic job. It's something that changes every day. It forces you to learn and get up to speed of new technologies all the time. It's not like being a COBOL programmer on mainframe, or a C++ programmer, or a Windows sysadmin that can learn something and stay with it for a year, 2 years, 3 years, maybe more. In the security space, it's something that is changing all the time. And when security switched to cyber, it even got faster. So when I look at, again, there was not much difference between information security and cybersecurity at the beginning, just to make a marketing differentiation and try to bring in more new people, young people to the industry. But it really succeeded, and now we are in cybersecurity. The basics are the same, but the pace is much faster. The environment is changing all the time. We are dealing with things that we didn't even think about doing them a decade or 2 decades ago, where we were managing information security, like intelligence reports, like looking at geopolitical actions and activities that are happening worldwide and how they impact our security or our security posture. And I think that then the dynamics is the most important thing for me. I give lectures or presentations about security every couple of weeks or months, depends on the audience that is requesting that. And every time I do the presentation, I have new examples, new scenarios. I never have to go back to the examples and the information I had with me a month ago or a year ago. I was doing in the past, while I was working for IBM, I was doing workshops around the world for IBM products, and I had those plastic slides, foils, that I could carry with me and make the presentation, and I could use them for 2 years, the same slides. This is not the case with security. You have to change all the time with the activities and with the changes of the industry. So it helps you stay young.
I love that. And so let's stay young with human security, social engineering, and phishing. You're mentioning that security is constantly evolving, it's constantly changing, you have to remain up to speed. How has the human element in security evolved or changed over time, and how has the experience of the human element changed?
It really depends of which part of the human element you're talking about. If you look at the human element as layers, you have the experts, you have the people, and I like to call it to be involved, or to be influenced, involved, and aware. The public should be aware of security. The regular computer users should be involved, and the technical specialist needs to be part of they have to be to interact and be really part of the security. One sentence that security manager or CISOs like to say all the time is security is everyone's responsibility. So this is nice. This is one way to try to shift the blame to the users and to the customers when something happens. Because it's everyone's responsibility, and if something wrong happened, it's not only our fault, it's everyone's fault, and no one is taking the responsibility. And in politics, you see it a lot right now. But it's actually it's a real statement, because the security breach can occur from the mistake or ignorance of almost everyone, from especially if it is doing a misconfiguration or a user that is clicking on the wrong link, or someone is doing an interview and downloading a software that is not even checked, like me for right now. So
How and have you found, during your time that the attacks have evolved or they've changed in some ways? Because there's the common thread of we're clicking on links and SMSs and emails and stealing credentials, but has the space changed at all?
yes, it became more sophisticated or more reliable, or not say reliable, but you can trust more the interaction with the fraudster, because they use better language, and they don't send you messages that are easily discarded. And this is the human aspect. But if you're talking about attackers that are attacking systems, this is something completely different. And I'm not going to address it. But they really got much more sophisticated. And they're exploiting the vulnerabilities much faster. And there's a race between the system administrators, the system managers, and the vulnerabilities. We used to have vulnerabilities that are coming, let's say, every few weeks, and then we fix them, we patch them, and we do the cycle again. And if you read the book, the story, The Little Prince, the Little Prince goes one day goes to the planet of the lamplighter. And the lamplighter complains that he used to have a very convenient job. He used to turn on the lamps in the evening, go to sleep, turn them off in the morning, and on again. And it took 24 hours. And now the planet is turning once every 1 minute, and is all the time is doing all off for the lamps. So it's the same with vulnerabilities and patching. You don't have time. You get to fix one vulnerability, and the day after you may get 2 more. So they are really having a very hard time keeping the system safe and keeping the system secured. And if someone is negligent in doing the patches, and the attackers knows what vulnerabilities are still there, especially old ones that were never addressed during the time, they can fool employees or customers into downloading software or clicking in the wrong place and exploiting the vulnerabilities. So it's getting much, much harder. And of course, with the advancement in the tools for doing imitation, what we call the deep fake, or not even the deep fake, the AI or ChatGPT really helped in taking all the messages, the SMS messages and the mails, and creating them in a very professional way, so you cannot identify anymore a malicious message by bad language or by bad grammar. Everything looks very, very nice and very clean. And the next stage, of course, is the deep fake with a video. You can even get deep fake messages in conferences. You can get fooled by them as well. First of all, I don't know if you are real right now. I'm not sure.
We'll find out. I'll tell you later. Now, how have organizations dealt with this rising threat over time? So what I imagine that you don't just sit back and say, okay, I'm going to let my employees fall victim to these on an ongoing basis. What do you do to help make sure that the employees either don't get exposed to the threats, or if they do get exposed, they know not to click on them?
Well, I don't. Some people look at the employees as the last line of defense. I don't hold this opinion. I don't think that we should rely on employees to be the ones that are holding or preventing the organization from falling into those traps. You should keep the basic cyber security, information security up to date, what we call cyber hygiene. Make sure we have if someone fell for the scam and you have a malware coming into your system, you need to have the right tools to detect it and to eradicate it. So it's nice if few employees really remember what they heard in the training, in the awareness training, and report things. But I don't think that you should rely on them, because not because they are not reliable, but because it's not their job. They have their daily job. They are overwhelmed with that. And in one of the awareness training that we did, not the training but the exercises that we did, one of the managers said, I rely on the security system professionals to prevent it. So I come to work in the morning assuming that you do your job and I'll do my job, and if I clicked on something and something bad happens, it's your fault, not my fault. And there is something in what they say, because they let something into the organization and we didn't detect it. So it's a shared responsibility. We failed a little bit and they failed a little bit.
Absolutely, but how does that account to the situation in which they fall victim to the attack in the personal world, in their external world, right? I mean, I have my own personal device. We're seeing these attacks go in on WhatsApp now and on Facebook, and so they're beyond the perimeters of the organization. So how do you think we should mitigate that?
Well, I'll go once again to a very old TV series, The X-Files, which the statement was they trust no one, and trust no one. That's be suspicious all the time. Keep in mind that it's every place there are fraudsters or scammers that are trying to get the advantage of you, and if something looks too good to be true, it probably is, and even if you are very careful and taking all precautions that you should take, sometimes it will happen. And if you identify, if you suspect that you fell for a scam, don't be ashamed. Don't feel like a victim that needs to conceal that. Report it to whoever is the right place. If it's Facebook or Gmail, that you suspect that something did not wrong happened. But also you need to make sure to take care of yourself and use the additional security features that all the platforms are providing, multi-factor authentication and checking all the time if you are the only user in your environment, and they provide all those features, but it takes a few minutes or a little bit time to use them, and people should do it in their personal systems as well.
So Shuky, let's look a little bit into the future and putting your consulting and advisory hat on. Things are changing rapidly. It's becoming multi-channel, more sophisticated. Where do you see the biggest innovation coming, or where do you think the biggest innovation should come in the context of fighting off these threats, in the context of enterprises, banking systems, etc.?
Now, what enterprises are supposed or should do is to incorporate risk scoring systems into all of their processes and activities, so they can identify a risk while it's happening and see that if there is an anomaly that occurs in their system, if these are transactions or if these are simple interactions with social media, and alert the user. If the risk score is very high, they should maybe stop it by themselves. Sometimes you get a false positive, and the person gets upset because a session was cut or a transaction didn't go through, and they need to provide additional information. But this is the responsibility of the organization to provide more information and to wave the flags when they think that something is wrong. and it definitely depends on the risk appetite of the organization. Some will be more accept more risk, some will not. That this is one thing. The other thing is to deploy, try and find and deploy more systems that do automation, and definitely see how can AI and machine learning help in defense. Because I believe, and it's not only my belief. There was a survey with many CIOs and CISOs in Europe done by the World Economic Forum, and most of them believe that the AI will first help the attackers before it will help the defenders. And we definitely need to take this in mind, keeping this in our mind, and not suspect everyone, but suspect almost, raise our suspicious bar. Let's put it like that.
Absolutely. Shuky, I really want to thank you for taking the time to join me. This was a pleasure and a privilege. Thank you for sharing the insights. Wishing you best of luck and continue making a positive impact. And thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much.